It's time. No, this is not Bruce Buffett, but still, this is MUFC Realist TV, guys. But it is showtime. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Sorry. Once I thought I was Bruce Buffett to saying it is time, but it is actually the silly season, so it is actually time. And silly season 2024, that means that January window is open. You're going to see a lot of rumors, speculations, who is in, who is out, what's Arsenal doing, what's Liverpool doing, what is Manchester United doing? Do we have money to do anything? Are we linked to every 35-year-old dog and his wheelchair and all that stuff? We should find out. But guys, I have a brilliant guest here to discuss all of this with me. And there is no other than the brilliant Jacque Talbot, who is a chief football correspondent for transfer.com, but also writing for Times Sports, etc. Guys, before I introduce Jacque to the stage, there's one thing you should do. You know, you have all the bells, buttons, whistles, and all that below that. Ding, 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 ding. Please give us a like, a cheeky thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and we should see you very, very soon with Jacque in the stage. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's do this.
Now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world
on MUFC Realist TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's January. Some people say Mayday, Mayday. We are sinking, and I'm saying what you're sinking about. Some people say, if you watch Titanic, they say, Jacque, come back. But I have the brilliant Jacque Talbot in the studio. How are you doing? Happy New Year. It's good to see you back on the channel, my friend.
That intro was incredible. I've never seen anything like that before. Is it Bruce Buffer every time?
Yeah, I'm Bruce Buffett. No, thank you. I actually I made all the graphics and intro, so yeah, I take that as a compliment, Jacque. Thank you so much, sir.
I wasn't expecting it. Thank you very much for having me, Mike.
Yeah. How was your first and foremost, how was your new year? And obviously you must be super busy at this January time.
Yeah, New Year was fine. Quite quiet, Christmas and New Year. In terms of being busy, yeah, it's busier than normal. It's busier than out of the window, but I think in comparison to the last January, it's been a bit more subdued. I mean, it's the early stages, I suppose, but it just feels a bit more subdued. And I think that's a lot to do with a lot of the big clubs and the FFP and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, busier than normal, but I think like the last January was like the Wild West. This January, maybe it's just a bit more normal, I suppose. But,
yeah. No, usually January is what they say. It's a buyer's market more than a seller's market. That's usually it's a short window. But big up for you, Stephanie Griffith. Big up for everyone that's tuning in. We will save your questions. Gas Taylor is always here. Big up to all of your members coming in and tuning in for all around the world. We have a broad audience all the way from New York to Sydney to Adelaide to Russia, to everywhere, Jacque. So before I want to take an icebreaker for people that don't know you. I personally know you because I'm following your work on Twitter. You know, tell us a little bit about who is Jacque Talbot and why did he become a football correspondent in the first place?
I knew I wanted to be a football writer in about 8 years ago. And it took about 6 years or 7 years of doing basically rewrites for sites. So what you will see on the Daily Star or on the Mirror, you click on it and it's basically a story and it goes like according to, and that's what it is to generate clicks. I thought, well, I did want to be the next sort of Guardian writer, like doing color pieces. But unfortunately, I just wasn't good enough. And then 2 years ago, so it would have been the start of January 2 years ago, I just started messaging agents and just talking to them, just because, just why not, and putting information out. I used to just tweet it, and then I think it was in February. I just thought, oh, I should monetize this somehow. If I'm getting this, there's no point just tweeting it. So at the time, it just worked. Like Football Transfers, the site was just up and coming. I messaged Robin, and I did some freelance for about 6 months or so, and then it led to something full time. So for me, it's been quite a short period of time, really. But it's not something I've gone in, like I intended really to go into. I wanted to be a color piece writer.
Okay, but what is it that you most enjoy of covering just the beautiful game of football? I mean, I understand by the research that you're actually a Newcastle supporter, right?
Oh,
correct?
Yeah.
But you must be a general football lover of the game, Prem, La Liga, all that stuff right now.
I am. I am a football lover. That's part of the reason, I think a lot of people, journalists, they say they love the game. They weren't good enough to be a player. So it's sort of the next level down, I suppose. Although I would say this season in particular, I've struggled. My relationship with football, particularly Premier League football, is I'm finding it less enjoyable to watch.
How come?
I find it very heavy. I find football now very heavy. It's
kind of dying a little bit with the VR and the extended minutes.
It's all the VAR, the scandals, everything about it is just become a bit too. I don't find it enjoyable anymore. I want to engage in football.
A little bit politicized in a way, doesn't it? Like it feels a little bit of a.
That can be good. That can be good to some degree, but I suppose it doesn't feel like it once was, and it may be different. Like I enjoy watching Championship football, Bundesliga, but yeah, with Premier League football now, I just really there's something about it, and it may just be you watch a game, you watch Sky Sports, and you watch a great game, Man City versus Spurs or something like that, and I think that actually happened, wasn't it, last month? And I think it was 4-3. I can't remember precisely. It goes back to the studio, and it's all about the refereeing decisions, the controversy, and I'm just a bit.
Yeah, I get that. I feel the same, my friend. I feel it's referees and VR is kind of stepping into the limelight instead of being in the background, right? That has been the main topics, like what is a pen, what is an offside, and gives a lot of. There's no transparency. It's been shambles, right? And one thing led to another, according to my opinion, is also spread down to Europe as well. Same controversials. It's become a little bit authoritarian, like talk to the hand. Like you're not even allowed to talk to the referees. You get booked for what do you call it? Dissent and stuff like that. Yeah. And so inconsistencies, right? I watched the other day when United was playing, and who was it? I think it was. I think it was the last game, where we played. Who did we play last game? We lost Nottingham Forest, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And
I can't remember. Yeah, you might have.
Yeah. It's like every game is so fast. But, I remember one play in particular, and there was, what's his name? He clipped down 2 plays, and then he went up and started having dissent on the referee, right? He only got a yellow card, and then Dalot got a yellow card for asking the question, wait a minute, you clip down Johnny Evans, and then you clip down the other one, and then you come up and start cussing at the referee, right?
It might have been Liverpool, and it might have been Nunes.
No, it's not. It was. But then you saw, a similar situation what happened to Diego Dalot. Like within 5 seconds, I think it was Michael Oliver gave him, without a shadow of a doubt, within 5 seconds, 2 yellows and red. It's very damaging the game. But on the other hand, if you look at the injury records, I think the Premier League players have actually launched a protest. We did play a World Cup in the middle of winter, right? Remember? And then on top of that, they included this extra additional playing time, which nobody really knows. It's unprecedented. You can play 9 minutes extra, and that adds on, a toll to all the muscle injuries that we see.
Yeah, they run into the ground. I know they played a lot, but that year for them must have been incredibly hard to basically be playing all year round without so much as a break. And you're thinking 2-3 games every week, basically all year round. So yeah, and but that's just them. It's powers that be squeezing enough money, isn't it? You know, they're assets, these players, and if they're performing in competitions equals TV money, you know, and that's the motive really. But yeah, no, with the VAR and that, it's partly to do with the decisions around it, you know, the actual inconsistency from referees. But for me, I think it's just completely taken over the discussion of football.
True that.
As well. So, you know, that you watch a game and the thing people are talking about is he shouldn't have been sent off or he should have been sent off. And I'm just like, what about the actual game itself? I can't think of a magical moment that's happened in the Premier League this season, like a great goal. You know, it should be about great goals and tactics.
Oh, I can give you one. Garnacho's overhead kick.
Oh, the Garnacho against Everton. Yeah, okay, that was, to be fair. But
that's magical.
Yeah, I found particularly the conversations around it, and you know, you get stories coming out about, I don't know, I just
corruption and
yeah, it's just everything, and that's why I'm like, Championship, no VAR, good football, really competitive league, and it's just good, isn't it? And more games, and that's so I'm just very much focused on that, and the Bundesliga, the league now is just, I can't be asked.
Fantastic. Just finishing off that, like, you know, I think I agree with you. The football for me is dying. Like, you know, I grew up with no VAR, at least. Like, you know, there used to be, like, you know, the umpires are there to call it for what it is. Like, you know, the VAR is there for call it clear and obvious, right? But the VAR has been too influential. Like, you know, even if the ref has given the penalty, there's the VAR whispering in the ear, like, you know, and they take forever to debate. And sometimes what irritates me is that they're acting like, you know, CSI Miami or CSI New York. They're going the microscopical pubic hairline. You know what I mean? To see,
pubic hair a bit too big, and they're like, it's offside.
His tonal is a little bit larger than Maguire's, and that's for his offside. So no, I get that. Like, and it's been less fun to watch. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, that's about it. Like, no, so. That makes it hard sometimes to be objective, like, no, but you got to call a spade a spade. I mean, it feels like you're not allowed to criticize PGOL and stuff like that before. They're becoming way too powerful.
Yeah, I think, you know, we'll just talk about, you mentioned there about, you know, the celebrations, even celebrations now are like not what they used to be. That's the best bit about football, when your team score, but now it's always with the caveat, it could be disallowed, and, you know, this kind of thing. But the Referee Association, obviously very much in the spotlight, and they need to amend things. That should happen. I get there should be a degree of pressure. But again, it's just sort of like, I find that, you know, when the decision, you know, how I do find that people, you know, particularly if you look online, how many people do want referees to make the right decision and be correct, or how many do actually just want decisions in their favour? And I never see the person criticizing the referees. I like to see it like when it's against their own team as well as when it's for their own team. Do you know what I mean? So,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And
as a consumer of the game, I totally get what you mean. Because every time it's a goal, there's always in the back of your mind, like, oh no, they're going to check this. And even if you can see on the clear eye it is a goal, they still have to check it, and they still have to spoil it, and it takes away the joy of football, according to my opinion, right?
Absolutely.
So
it does, yeah.
Just give it, like, you know, the way it used to be. If it's just a fraction of margin, like, you know, what is the problem, right? In the olden day, they used to be like given, right? And they're talking about putting this semi-automated offside, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's I believe as well that, you know, refereeing should be looked at as an art form, and it should be done in dialogue of the match, and the match should be consistent. If it's a derby game, I feel the referee, if they're a good referee, they should allow more decisions in the game to flow a little bit more. And I feel VAR is just kind of taking away from that, really. Like, the consistency is what we want, but maybe within the game, I don't know, within a particular game, you know, I think that's good to let a game flow a little bit more if necessary, etc.
So big up Jack, like, you know, now we have formally broken the ice. Now we know who Jacque Talbot is. And guys, go subscribe on, follow Jack on his page as well. Like, this is your Twitter page as well, if I may say so. Go follow Jack on his brilliant tweets on Twitter. And before we continue, where can people find your work as well?
Otherwise, www.footballtransfers.com for the most part. Quite easy to
That's
remember. So football,
that's
it's a new up and coming site. Do you remember Goal back in the day, the website?
Yes, Goal. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So Goal is obviously not quite what it used to be because there's like internal politics, and now the editors who made it what it is, they're now with that's what they've made is new. So it's the new Goal football transfers. So in 5 years' time, hopefully it's going to be like Goal, but
transfer.com.
We'll see.
Wicked. Listen, we're going to talk about. Let's go down to the business straight away. It's January transfer window. You mentioned it's not as busy as last year. However, historical speaking, Jack, it's the buyers market, as per mentioned, more than the sellers market, due to people know that the desperation that some clubs need to strengthen to sort of have a chance to compete for the remaining of the season, and it's an opportunity to sort of offload a bloated squad with kind of loan deals. Now, of course, we are a Manchester United channel, but if you look at Prem in general, you're covering most of the Premier League transfers. Do you see any movers and shakers, any big business happening from any club, major top 8 club? And if so, what have you heard so far? What will shock us, to be honest? Do we see Ivan Toney coming for 100 million, or do we to Arsenal, or what's the hottest, outside the Manchester United goggles, to be honest?
Outside Man United, to be honest, I haven't had much in terms of top 6 recently. It's been quite subdued, and I do try and veer away from stories like Tony and the bigger ones, because even if you get something strong and good and it's verified, you kind of just go under, because bigger reporters than me are gonna do that, and that kind of thing. So for me, I tend to stick to the mid-level stories. So we did a story on Andre Gomez leaving Everton yesterday. Newcastle in for Somerville and Ben Goffrey at Everton as well. And today we've got a story out, Fulham looking at Andre Silva. So again, not huge ones like even Tony, stuff like that. I think I said, like last summer, they all went mad. Like Chelsea went mad, and all so FFP's strangleholding.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they went absolutely crazy, and so they have to sell to buy. So I think you're not going to see any huge deals.
No, you're right. Considering Chelsea, they are definitely. I mean, there was one story that everyone was gutted about: Newcastle United fans and Chelsea and Arsenal, and that was the story of Marcos Leonardo, right? He's now confirmed he's going to Benfica 100%, or?
I reached out to his side yesterday, hadn't got anything back. They were saying to me a couple of months ago, Real Madrid were looking at him and Newcastle were looking at him, which is quite tentative. Rafaela is bringing
Rafaela, yes.
Because his side got relegated to Sao Paulo, I think it was, got relegated.
For the record, Rafaela was the one that took over Mino Raiola's old client in the business.
That's right.
For the
she
record.
was the lawyer. Yeah, she was the lawyer. And so she's got the mandate to bring him to Europe. But I think it looks like it's going to be Benfica, I think, to be honest.
Well, and then we're screwed. Everyone that knows Benfica, right?
So the next person who wants to get him will cost £200 million or whatever it is from Benfica.
100%. Rui Costa is there. They're going to sell him for minimum 100 million. They buy him for 15, and that is a smart piece of business, because I did a scouting report early in the summer, been following quite heavily. He was heavily linked to Manchester United as well, and also Jose Mourinho's Roma. But mother club, Santos said, no, we want to keep you for another season, and you can go in January for little as 15 million, right? So that means that Chelsea couldn't do it because FFP. United with their FFPs as well, they are finding out the fate of the FFP within 2 weeks. A report that I read today, because they submitted the financial statements before 1st of December. So they're going to find out the fate of that, like what they can spend and not spend, Jack.
Yeah.
So there's not much going on around there, to be honest. And then Newcastle, you're down to your bare bones as well. I saw the Liverpool game, you're fighting with the tooth and nail. But what is the reports coming out, the potential sack Eddie Howe? What's going on there? Is it just paper talk?
Yeah. Was there a report saying that? I don't know. Depends.
I read it. Yeah. There's rumbles. There's a media again wants the manager sacked because something to write about.
Basically, I can't see them sacking him at this point. It's a really bad patch. It's been a really bad month and a game. But I can't see them doing anything now. I think, to be honest, it'd probably take Newcastle to finish like 14th, get knocked out of the FA Cup, then I think if we finish 9th, 8th, and we get knocked, I think he'll stay there. I think he's earned that license. And to be honest, there's no rush. And I think the club are looking very much into a 5-year plan rather than this season. And we've got to be honest, like we overachieved last season. You know, we do have Miguel Almiron. We do have
it's brilliant player.
And they're not terrible players, but they're not top 4 players or top 6 players really.
No, you're big up to Miley, by the way, young Miley.
Miley, 17 years old. I mean, that's just incredible. And also, we bought to like build on last season. We bought Tonali and Harvey Barnes, and Harvey Barnes broke his toe, and he's been out for most of the season. And Tonali, obviously, he's having issues. He's banned until the start of next season. So that's obviously been a big blow.
But you can imagine Arsenal bought Jurgen Timber, like, you know, and he didn't even kick the ball. He had a knee fracture. So that's a little bit bad luck. So you don't see Arsenal doing anything whatsoever. Like, you know, I read reports something about they are potentially looking at I don't know. I'm not sure because it's January. It's very tricky. People don't usually do a lot of business. Last time United did business in January was the purchase of Bruno Fernandes. But it's always, by my experience, if the right target is available, that is a summer target, and if the opportunity presents itself in January, some clubs might just go and utilize that budget for the summer and buy the player in January, or they might make an agreement already in January, like Liverpool does as well, for the player to come in the summer, right? I want to talk to you about switch the focus over to United a bit because there's a lot of questions here. So we all seen it, you know, in the Christmas Eve, you know, the announcement of Ineos 25% being ratified at the moment. But that means that it hasn't really been 100% approved because they have to go through the Premier League fitness and ownership test, and also has to be, you know, approved by New York Stock Exchange. But in the interim, they made an agreement between the Glazers and the camp themselves that you cannot sell or hire or fire anyone without our consent. Now, we keep hearing that there's no money. There's FFP, of course. There's predominantly going to be loan deals, and they are not. You know, we keep hearing that potentially getting Harry Potter, sacking the manager. Do you think that it's a lot of smokescreen from the media, or is that some facts in it? You know, what's your take on
the money?
Yeah, what's your take on the whole thing with Dale Brailsworth, the cycling expert, and especially we are linked to your guy Dan Ashworth from Newcastle and Paul Mitchell. Do you think that will make a significant impact because they're not really there yet? Is it just more paper talk, or does it have any?
No, there's certainly there because the thing is, I've been waiting for a brief as a Newcastle fan for that Newcastle to tell the Telegraph or the Daily Mail. There's no Ashworth's very happy here, and it hasn't happened. I think he's open to it, and I think that if he's given a certain freedom at Man United, if he's able to do X, Y, and Z, then I think he's going to move across. And it's not popular. Like, I'm a Newcastle fan, but it's not popular. You know, I know Man United haven't been their best the last 10 years, but it is Man United. And I think that under new ownership, if you're a sporting director and you want to reach the top of the level and Man United come calling, you know, without Glazer influence, then I think you'd be nuts to turn it down. You could say you love Newcastle till you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, there's certain clubs. If they come knocking, then you go to them.
So that's the thing, because he hasn't been denied. It hasn't been played down either. So that means there must be something in it. But my question is, like, okay, he came from Brighton. He had all the freedom to do what he had to do in Brighton. But my understanding that he doesn't have the same freedom in Newcastle. And as you said, like, you know, when Manchester United come knocking on a door, the question is, will he have still the same freedom? Apparently, he has some close ties to Brailsworth as well.
He is, yeah.
So that might be the point.
Well, with freedom, you know, I think it's all by committee, isn't it? All recruitment now is by committee. So, you know, he's going to have to work in tandem with Ratcliffe, in tandem with Brailsworth, and in tandem with Mitchell as well. So, you know, the idea of power, I'd imagine he'd probably have a little bit, I has a guess, about the same maybe as Newcastle, because, you know, I think he probably has more say than Howe. Obviously, has to be signed off by the chairman, I think, at Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably just a bit of an excuse, just maybe. But yeah,
So what can we
job.
what can we expect if he becomes the sporting director? Because there's also reports to say that, let me just bring this to the stage as well. Yeah, there's also been report that it's a double whammy, like in terms of having Paul Mitchel in there as well together. But Paul Mitchel will be more of the head of the recruitment, and then Brailsford, what I understood, or will be the optimization manager, and then Ashworth would be more the sporting director, So there is legs in it because it's been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. Paul Mitchel, I mean, wouldn't there be a clash between, if they're both doing the same job? Or I would say that Mitchell is better on the recruitment, scouting talents, and
in terms of, I don't know how it would work precisely between the pair. I was going to use the example, at Chelsea they've got two sporting directors, but it hasn't really worked out that well. With Ashworth, just as a Newcastle fan, I'll sort of give you a bit of a lowdown on Ashworth. Though you're going to see a lot of, basically his MO is finding the best young English talent from I don't know, League One, League Two, and bringing them through. He's all about that. Whereas Mitchell is a bit more European in his network. Mitchell was basically the reason behind. I don't remember when Southampton came up. I think it would have been like 2014. They did quite well, and they got Lallana, they got Mane. There's loads of other examples, to be fair, there. Southampton, I can't think of. Then he went Spurs, and his probably his best one, although it sounds a bit ridiculous now, was getting Dele Alli from MK Dons. He was the one that found Dele Alli and brought him to Spurs, and he was part of the contingent that was in Spurs' Pochettino era. Those sort of players they brought in, and I think they finished quite high up. I think they finished second or something. I can't remember. So that's him, and then he's had spells at, I think, Leipzig and Monaco as well. But I'm not sure precisely how it would work. But yeah, Ashworth is very
localized.
Yeah, very English young talent and stuff. And
because there's a little bit worrying sign for most United fans, because is it going to be just specializing, just bringing in, British local born talent, homegrown talent? We want sort of a mix. Maybe we've been crying out to recruit from the grassroots leagues, for instance, what they did in Brighton, what they did in Caicedo. You bring him from Brazil, from Uruguay, Colombia. You bring him for cheap, 7 million, 6 million pounds. But you also have to look at the mentality of the player, right? Yeah, you can be a baller, but what do you got up here, right? Because that's what Manchester United has been missing. You've been overpaid pompadons, to be honest, fragile pompadons. When push comes to shove, they get overpaid. And what I'm trying to say right now is what this establishment is trying to do is to lower down the wage bill. There was reports coming out in January already that Manchester United want to sort of introduce a wage cap on 200k and the rest in performance bonus, which I think is the right way to do, right?
Yeah. Man United are terrible recruiters, and they bring in these players and they do deals and give players money that no other club in the world would do. No one's giving. Who's giving Casemiro £350,000 a week? It's
or Rashford, 375.
Oh, Rashford, and now he's just gone because of his contracts. Rashford always work outside of football, not having a go at that, but just got his contract.
I think what we're trying to do in layman's term, we're trying to be manscaped, trim the bush to make the yard look bigger. To be honest,
sure.
Right?
But if let's say with them, with the new recruitment and that, I think they just need to do the opposite of what Man United have been doing, basically, and it should be all right.
Yeah. So there might be something that they call it the dream team. I mean, if they're saying we're getting Jean-Claude Blanc, which is a brilliant marketer, and commercial guy, right? He understands football. What he done with Juve, what he done with PSG and stuff like that. It was a remarkable story, how he turned Juve around. There was relegated due to the punishment, right?
Yeah.
So he managed to build a new stadium, XYZ, but still the Glazers in the background, which is the most irritating for most Manchester United fans, right? But it's a step towards the right direction. So if you get, let's say, Paul Mitchell to handle the recruitment side of it, and then have Ashworth to work alongside him. Then you have a team to work with Ten Hag, because he hasn't really had any guidance. If you look at it, we had a technical director with no experience whatsoever. We call him Darren Fletcher. Nobody really knows what he does, right? And then you have John Murtaugh, which everyone knows he's not a sporting director whatsoever, right?
I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does.
Nobody
Matt
does.
Hargreaves goes to negotiations. Ten Hag finds the players. I don't know what he does, that bloke.
He sits there he just sits there and vetoes, right? He's basically been a glazer puppet, right? To be honest, right? To block.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. It's been one shamble after another. If you look at that damning report, what I think it's the Athletic did on him, right? A brilliant piece, just gives you the insight of his inept. We signed, and this is not the fault of Anthony Dos Santos, right? We could have got this guy for 25 million, 40 million max. But he waited and waited and waited until the end of the transfer window, when the price went up to 95 and overpaid. Yeah. Same with Jadon Sancho, which we all seen that story that he's now going. We've been conned, right? We chased Jadon Sancho for a year and a half, right? Dortmund is not mugs; they're smart businessmen, but they knew that we suck on buying and we suck on playing. So they sold us for what, 75? We got Jadon Sancho, his twin brother, his evil twin. Never put in any. I mean, I haven't seen one consistent performance 5 games in a row, with his bad attitude. And now apparently it's almost done deal that he's going to Dortmund and we have to pay half of his wages with a sell-on clause at the end of the month. So who is the winner here? I would say Dortmund is, right?
They've moved him back, yeah. And
move him back. But on the flip side, it's a problem that we wanted to get rid of, and to get Jadon Sancho to play football again to increase his value, because it's an asset, right? It's a big 75 million pound asset, right? So if he does well, to play for a loan spell at Dortmund, we might recuperate the money. I think that is the strategy.
With them to buy him eventually.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Okay, so that's what we can expect from, at least, thank you for sharing that insight regarding, Ashworth and stuff like that, being from Newcastle and stuff like that. And what worries me as well, that came out today, is paper talks again that, Ten Hag jobs is not safe. They're looking to bring in Harry Potter
coming in to
Harry Potter and Dumbledore.
I think the way I see it, right, is that wherever Ten Hag, say the new ownership comes in, and Ten Hag, if they come in, they get a new manager, then he starts doing terribly, that's their fault. If they come in and Ten Hag continues to have a poor season, it's not really on the new ownership, is it?
No.
I think they're going to wait until they don't want to get top 4 this season. They probably don't.
You don't want to do a Chelsea. Seriously, you don't want to do a Chelsea. What Chelsea did with Bowley, right?
No, exactly. Yeah, I think they'll buy their time. And what's the difference really? Maybe 5 million difference between finishing 8th or 12th if you're Man United. I think they stick with Ten Hag end of the season. Wait for them to sort of get settled now. I can't see unless it's absolutely atrocious, unless it is getting embarrassing.
Then
I think they'll probably stay with him. I think unless results force their hand, I can't see it. But there's always going to be, links to other managers and that. And I think the club will try and, particularly this new ownership, will try and put that.
I even saw a link that Gareth Southgate was considered as going to get out of here.
That would not be a good
and
idea.
And Harry Maguire would go "Oh, I get a pick there."
Exactly. Yeah, Harry Maguire would love that. I don't know where Southgate would go after England, to be fair. But I think you probably look at someone a bit more. I think Graham Potter makes a lot of sense, really, doesn't it? I think Graham Potter, and I think that's why he's not gone anywhere else. It's almost been a year, or 9 months until he's been out of work. Graham Potter, and I think that could be the one, really.
Potentially. I would say that if you look at the whole situation, Jack, and I don't know if you agree with me, but this looks more than the main concern, and the priority is to get the structure in place first. And this is something that United haven't had, right? We have manager after manager. We appointed a award-winning pedigree CVs, Jose Mourinho, Van Gaal. Okay, Ole was an award-winning CV, you know what I mean? But we had managers like Ragnick and stuff like that, and they all failed, we hired managers with an ambition to fail, because as long as we made top 4, there was happy Glazer days, and then second season around, there was no money to spend, right? So that has to stop, right? So that I can see is the main priority in terms of building a football vision, a structure that doesn't give the manager the full control of the transfer window, because as a manager, your job is to managing the coaches, the analytics, and assemble the team. Just make sure that they are performing. But as you said, like, if you back the tape, this season of Premier League has been like, not enjoyable, because there's been so much scandals off the pitch, and especially regarding Manchester United. We're talking about the Greenwood story. We're talking about the, what's been going on with the takeover. Anthony.
Yeah.
So you can acknowledge that it hasn't been easy for Ten Hag as well to manage all this shit, to be honest. So I would say that most sensible thing, like, they would probably say, okay, kick on Son, because now all of a sudden he's got accountability. He has people to respond to, right? He's got KPIs on his own.
See, Ten Hag, I think what they did was they're just like, they rang him up and they were like, we don't know what we're doing. We fail with transfers all the time. If you come in from Ajax, just do what you want. You'll probably have a better idea than us. But unfortunately, and I think Ten Hag is a competent coach. I don't think he's a great or elite coach. I think he's a competent coach.
He's a coach.
He's a coach, but his recruitment is just absolutely atrocious. And I know people have said, well, they waited for Anthony, and but they should have never been in the situation where they're spending that much money on that player.
No.
Never.
But you need that stopgap to say, like, I want to buy, let's say, Mbappe, and you got to go, what do you want to buy Mbappe for? Like, 250 million. Have a look at this other target instead. Why do you want to splash all the cash? And that is what he needs, right? He needs help, right? He needs help.
Yeah, he needs guidance.
Like you see, when he was at Ajax, like, there was that triangle. He was working with Overmars, and then you have Eddie van der Sar. They were working in combination, discussing and vetoing, and like everyone had to agree on the transfers. That's it, right? But Manchester United haven't had that, like, Sir Alex Ferguson, ever since Alex Ferguson had full control. It's been part of the culture, but that is a makeshift right now. And this is the only positive that I see as a fan, right? That we're actually having a sporting vision, a structure in place. Even if we replace the manager, that we already know who's the next manager in line, or the next centre back in line, or next attacking in line, right? You know what I mean? Like, Brighton is doing it brilliantly. Newcastle, as an example, you had what was his name? The former Mike Ashworth, was it Ashley?
Mike Ashley, yeah.
Mike Ashley. He was running your club like he didn't care, right? But if you see the tender love and care what the new owners has been given to you, but organically building those building blocks, this is similar what Manchester United can expect as well with its new structure, like to appoint the right people in place. You didn't have that before either, but look where you are now, right?
You need to have a culture, and I think not much goes into it, not necessarily just the backroom staff and that's part of it, but just a positive culture. And if your culture and you're Man United, you can have as many talented players. The culture of Man United is just like Big Brother. It's media leaks because no one trusts each other. It's throwing each other under the bus. It's high wages without any incentivized contracts, apart from Garnacho recently. That's the culture of it. And if you go into that, like any work environment, if you have a new job, you go into an office and you go hello, and everyone's toxic. You work there for 2 years, you turn toxic. That's part of the culture.
Yeah, true. I mean, I said that in a previous podcast as well. Like, every manager been to the interview, it's like you want to try to conquer this number, the tenor that everyone wants to date and take out, like, and have kids with, right? No matter how you swing, every manager is trying to conquer that beautiful lady, or man, or whatever your preference is. And everyone manager failed, right? And they've been to the interviews, they lied to the manager. No worries, you will get everything that you need. No worries, Jose Mourinho, you get everything that you need. And then 1 year later, you find out all the shit that's been going internally that needs to be fixed, that you're working with, with shackles behind your, trying to piss against the wind. You know how it is. And of course, you're going to say, I want out, right? Where you are a manager coming to the summer window and you have an ambition to win, but the establishment above don't want you to win. They just want to go, okay, I know you ordered a Big Mac upsize, but we're just going to give you a Happy Meal and you get a toy. Are you happy? Are you happy? But it's not what I ordered. You know what I mean? And you come to the January window when you know that you've been hit hard by all these injuries, Newcastle experience as well. and your current owners is saying, sorry, we don't have any money, we can't play with what you got, right? And we're going to sell off some of your youth academy players or loan them out as well. So what kind of indication does that give you to a manager, right? So I get that that this is a start, that you need to trim down the wage bill and the optimization as well. And for us anyway, the season seems to be over. We're out of Europa. We're only playing like a FA Cup, same as you guys, and one game a week of
Premier League, which probably won't amount to much really. Same as us. I mean, I don't know. Top four is probably out of reach for both of our clubs. I'd say.
We'll see. The ball is running. Anything can happen, right?
Well, okay. I've written the season off basically. I'm just like, but yeah, you never know, I suppose.
Listen, Jack, I want to touch into what's hot on the press, because this is coming out big time. Like, we know that United don't have any money. There's no way. I mean, unless we identify a key target, like something was, and we're going to talk about Olise later on as well, but 100% striker targets. You seen it, you read it. Guirassy, Timo, Werner, Thomas Müller, Choupo-Moting, even some rumors of Benzema and Malen from Borussia Dortmund. You know what, Jack? You got the fingers on the pulse. How true is this? Like, are we really in for those washed up players, right? Like Timo Werner, can he do a job?
I haven't asked about, though. I haven't had much Man United the last couple of weeks, to be honest. Malen, I know, would be offered. I did a story in that because he's part of SCG, which is Ten Hag's firm. And it's just you don't want to get it. It's just be another Sancho. Like he's not very. He's so inconsistent. So Malen would just be awful. The other players I haven't heard. It's for a club that wants to bring in young players and stuff. I just find the links very, very peculiar.
Very
I suppose
bizarre.
A surefire of goals is what my guess. And they're all in the Bundesliga as well. And it's not just Sky Germany reporting it as well. I think it's the Athletic. So, there must be something there. They feel like Werner can come in and, I don't know.
Do a 6 months job. Right? I think Werner is more of a paper of the cracks. But, the thing is with United fans, we've seen it all before. Like, we had Uncle Igalo, right? We had Weghorst that didn't work out as well. Like, And the thing is that we don't really have a secondary striker, and the one that we have is the Scandals. We loan him out to Getafe. He's one of ours. He's contracted, and it makes sense. Like he's doing madness over there. Like why would you pay money? Just bring back one of your own talent. But there's so much split and divide within the fan base, and not even worth talking about, right? It's down to the club, right? And I don't know, man. Werner to me. I don't find anything of that sexy. Choupo-Moting, Werner, But on the other hand, you look at it, you have one main striker. It's 20-year-old Rasmus Højlund. He was never meant to carry the world on his shoulder at this age, right? But
it's just stupid buying him. I said at the time, I don't know why. I know they wanted Harry Kane. And they didn't get Harry Kane, so that's why they got Højlund. There must have been an in between. Like as good, I think Højlund, despite having one Premier League goal, I think he's actually looks a really, really good player. He's not getting service. And as you said, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. 20 years old. He's Man United's focal point for goals. I think Martial's probably going to head off this window, I reckon, because he's unwell or whatever,
Martial,
he's just not happy, is he? And I can't believe he's been at your club for 9 years. It's just actually incredible. True. It's really like, I don't know how much it is in time. I mean, like 100 million when you put in the wages and everything like that. So, in that
it's
sense,
quite damning where Jose Mourinho came out with his latest interviews. Like, so when I was at United, when I started, within 2 months, I said there's players that I don't want there and that are still here, right?
Luke Shaw and Martial, probably, I guess.
Luke Shaw and Martial, probably. Rashford, I don't know, man. I don't know. Scott McTominay as well. Scott McTominay is a weird one. It's a really weird one because it's been said also like they're willing to listen to offer if the price is right. Same with Harry Maguire. Right, a lot of United fans don't really rate and they don't really understand why the manager is playing Scott McTominay. But every manager that ever starts playing Scott McTominay has been there to save their own ass, because what Scott McTominay does offer, he's a teacher's pet. He's a academy player, does talk the good talk. He probably applies good in training, but he's so inconsistent on the pitch, right?
Yeah, he puts in a lot of effort though. I think he gets played in the number 6 role when he's probably best played.
He's not a number 6.
No, whatever he does in Scotland's pretty good. Sort of like a number 10. I think he's a competent player. I could think of worse. I think he puts in effort. Maguire, again, I think I always thought he was a bit underrated. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but I think he got slated a bit too much. He does make those mistakes sometimes, but he is, he's a Premier League player at least. The other players, I just find, and you kind of go like Luke Shaw, like before the Euros was absolutely incredible, but it's just like, what's the point? Or, I'm not just singling him out, but, it's one of those ones where it's like, no, I keep him because you'll see him play well for a few games and then it's just back to square
injuries.
One. It's like Varane. People want give Varane a new contract now because he did good against Liverpool. And it's like, are you mad? Of course he did good against Liverpool because he wants to stay on 300k a week. Like, do you know what I mean?
But that's what they are negotiating, right? They are not going to trigger his extension. So they're talking about you can stay on by, on the new terms what we're going to offer everyone, right?
Well, that's right.
And he doesn't want to go. He wants to finish off his career in Europe, and he's over 30, so he's looking for finishing off his career. He said no to Saudi Arabia. He wants to remain in Europe. So it's down to the players at what you want, right? But from what we discussed regarding these loan strikers, the one that don't want to go away is Timo Werner. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say, well, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's a body. But I said, no, thank you. I want to pick your brain regarding another surprise. Right. Okay. So last year, I've had an interview also with Graham Bailey, right? Brilliant 90 Minutes Graham Bailey, right?
Yeah.
And we've been singing the same hymn sheet, right? About the potentials scouting, what Manchester United has been scouting. There was 3 strikers that was on that list that the scouting department and the club was really mad about. And yes, you're right, it was Harry Kane as well, right? There was the young profile of Rasmus Højlund. 100% it was, because he's one for the future. But there's something that people are missing that I want to bring to the stage, Jack. And this might be a smokescreen that we are looking at this, washed up 35-year-old or 27 that can't really cut the mustard. And I want to bring this because I don't. Why on earth did people miss this on the 22nd of December, Jack? We're talking about Benjamin Sesko. You know Benjamin Sesko, right?
Yeah. Not personally.
This was an article written on 22nd of December. The Manchester United is a red alert. Bundesliga striker is open for a January loan move and also in competition with Arsenal. Maybe this is Manchester United putting up feelers because he's apparently available. According to 90 Minutes, Sesko is now open to the idea of leaving RB Leipzig on loan in January. Moreover, he was specifically welcome an entry in the Premier League. There has been at least 4 suitors. Manchester United. I know Manchester United has been scouting him for years. He was in the top priority list, but they triggered Højlund instead. He's a similar profile to Højlund, same stature, same explosivity. Let's face it, Premier League is a physical game, so you need rotation, right? And goddamn, this player fits the bill. He's got a lot of admirers to bring him as a replacement for Anthony Martial. Hopefully we'll get Anthony Martial over in January, who's out of contract this season. However, the report claims that Sesko could be available on the loan with an obligation to buy. Means the Manchester United could end up signing him permanently in the summer. It's been in the region of £40 million. Now, RB Leipzig is ready to sort of ship him off. And currently there is no other suitors in the race for his loan deal signature, Jack. Is this something that's been slipping on the radar, or is it basically potential that you don't want to go out and show your cards? But I know for a fact that even Graham Bailey was even saying that Manchester United has been scouting him heavily, and was considering him this summer as one of the main targets, including Marcus Leonardo. Now we've seen that Leonardo is going to Benfica, and now is an opportunity that RB Leipzig is willing to let him go on a loan in January. Do you see that as a potential? And don't tell Eddie Howe about this.
I wouldn't mind him at Newcastle. Yeah, at Leipzig, he's been sort of frozen out because they've got Opinda. They bought Opinda in, and he's their main guy now. I think when there's a Salzburg to Leipzig move, it's usually with the intention of generating or increasing the value, then he'll move to the Premier League or, Barcelona or Real
Luis
Madrid.
Openda, like, he's playing there constantly, right?
Yeah,
so he's not getting minutes.
He's not getting as many minutes. I don't know. It's not anything I've heard personally, but I guess it'd make a lot of sense, and it seems quite a relatively decent fee for a very talented.
Chelsea cannot do the deal because Chelsea's got FFP. His agent Elvis Bosanovic was there speaking to Manchester United in the summer, and he also visited Chelsea. I know for a fact that, what I heard, that they are madly in love with this player. Ten Hag loves the player, the club loves this signing, and they had an offer because he was basically going for for the sister club to the, what do you call it? Sister club to the mother club, like, for RB Salzburg.
Parent club, or sister club. I interchanged them, yeah.
He was a big star at the sister club, which he did well. But in terms of development, he's not getting any minutes at the moment. Luis Openda is there. They arrived from Lens. So therefore, they are looking to sort of potential loan moon in January. So I want to hear from you guys in the VR room, the chat. Like, do you think that this will be the ideal January loan move with the potential to buy in for 40 million? Or do you guys think that we need more maturity? I think Ten Hag and the team is going more for youth to build up a new, fresh squad, what Chelsea's doing. You can criticize Chelsea as much as what you want. They bought a new team, and that team is going to take time to gel. Right. So, Jack, Hodometer, let's do this. Because we don't know what's going on right now. And let's do this. A little bit of a fun. Jack, in terms of who we're going to sign for Manchester United, let's spin the wheel because it is like this. We are currently linked to Timo Werner, Choupo-Moting, Thomas Müller, Guirassy, Malen, and I just added on a wild card, Benjamin Sesko. Now, out of all these players, who do you think that will end up as a loanee? I start with you, Jack.
Guirassy, with my guess.
They want money, like 17 million. So yeah.
Release clause. Guirassy. I think if we get rid of Sancho and Martial goes, I think it might free up a bit of money.
Do you reckon Thomas Müller is a lot of BS? Choupo-Moting is also BS. Timo Werner is the one to look out for, I think. So listen, just leave it to fate. Let's just do this, Jack.
Yeah, let's just find out.
Let's let the Fortuna tell us who we're gonna get.
Gonna land on.
Come on, man! Oh no,
Werner.
Timo Werner.
There we go.
Oh, no.
Man United
Footballing gods has spoken.
Yeah.
So the rumors are true, Jack. No way
are.
we're gonna get Timo Werner.
Bringing in a Chelsea flop. It's not going to work out well.
Oh my god, I regret doing this. I always spin the wheel when we have score predictions as well, because I don't want to jinx it. But oh my daisy, oh my, please don't let it be Timo Werner. Anyway, guys, brilliant. I just got to go to the comments because sorry, there's so many of you loading up the comments here. I'm gonna obviously Jalimamin is coming here. I still don't get what Erik Ten Hag does not try to play any type of football we all wanted him to play. 50%, 80% of the team could play like he played at Ajax. Yes, true. Donny van de Beek, and then Donny van de Beek, good luck. He's got his move to Frankfurt. Jack, there's a famous quote that he came out to say in an interview. I'm not here to play my Ajax style. I'm here to play the United style. And that triggered a lot of people. Like, why did you recruit you for? Do you think he's been told, like, you're not allowed to play your style? Or is it him just trying to implement his new way of playing with 2 number 8s? And I don't know. I can't really get it.
Maybe something to do with him coming in and trying to set the team out in a certain way. But each time they try and play his way, they always lose. And then so he's just reverting to sort of a system where he stands more chance of winning. Perhaps if he saw it out and saw out his system in the way that he wanted, maybe by this point things would be a lot better. But it hasn't really worked out well. I'm not sure entirely though. I don't know too much about how Ajax play, but Man United, I have to say for Ten Hag, I think you're ninth from the table, eighth on the table, but I can't really remember many games that you played or dominated. Played well against Liverpool, obviously didn't dominate. Did well against Crystal Palace in the League Cup. Was probably your best game I can recall. But even the games against Everton, at home to Wolves, Nottingham Forest, you won, but you didn't play well. And that happened a few times second half of last season as well, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I just don't recognize the manager that I saw in the first season and the manager that he is now. And obviously he's not happy. He's somebody's whispering in his ear, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Manchester United fell out of Europe. Yeah, you can blame it on injuries, but now when all the players is coming back, he said, to have all these injury players coming back in January is like new signings. And then you will see, accountability for everyone that's Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out. Everyone is entitled for the opinion. I myself, Jack, I just put myself on the doubt. The reason why I put myself on the doubt, I love my team. I'm not in love with the players anymore. I want them to prove me wrong, make me fall in love with you again. Prove me wrong, because a lot of fans has been crushed over the Christmas holidays, the New Year's. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or vice versa. So I think this is a good thing. Put more pressure on the manager, put more accountability. But I don't see us signing anyone in particular. Maybe loan deals. In terms of the summer links that was widely reported yesterday, we're talking about Michael Olise. For me, he's a brilliant, brilliant talent. I love Michael Olise. What do you think? Is that a lot of paper talk, or is that serious interest that there's something that could be triggered for 60 million release clause? But I read yesterday as well, because he had a release clause on 35. Now Palace put a stop to it because Chelsea wanted him and City wanted him, so they put a stop and they inserted a new release clause. That means he's available in the summer, in my opinion, for 60 million, right?
Yeah, well, my friend did that story, Nazir Kinsella. He's really reliable, really, really good. And and it makes a lot of sense in terms of the Ratcliffe philosophy of English players. He won't go in January, but this summer, I think Palace cashed in on him. I think maybe Man United will have to move Anthony on. I don't know. Like, who's going to take him on his wages, whether he's on 120. But maybe he could be back up. I don't know. But Olise would be a tremendous, tremendous buy for Man United.
I really rate him. Right, really.
Yeah.
So we will see, but there will be stiff competition, I think, for that as well. But this is again, one of the main key targets. What I keep saying, if a target becomes available and an opportunity becomes available in the January, and it's your main target, you might utilize the summer budget and activate it, right? But I don't see it anyway. Another thing regarding our colleague Dean Jones, right? He reported today, I read something about a potential replacement for Jadon Sancho. He was talking about the PSV Eindhoven's, what was his name? Bakayoko. Yeah. And he was quite adamant that they were very, very, he was high on the priority list as a replacement for 38.5 million in pounds, to be honest. Maybe these are kind of the targets that we should be looking at, on the lower end of 40s, the way Liverpool used to do before football went crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at the top 10 most expensive transfers in the Premier League. I think there's probably 2 that did okay. The rest of them, it never usually works out well when there's a huge transfer. It seldom does well. With the best ones are the ones go 30, 40 million. They come in and they just do really, really well. I'm not sure why that is, but it just seems to be the way. That kind of bracket wouldn't be too bad, I think. And as you mentioned there, Liverpool, I think they're relatively shrewd. Obviously, they do spend big money.
They are shrewd.
But they
come from behind and just takes it. We saw the madness when Chelsea snubbed on the 2 targets in the summer. That was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, they certainly enjoy a transfer, Chelsea, don't they? They certainly got Lavia and Casado. So, but maybe in a couple of years that could turn out really, really good. But I don't know.
I'd say we don't need much of a strikers, but Manchester United need to improve the midfields 100%, right? And if there's one midfielder I would love to take from Newcastle is Bruno Guimaraes. Honest to God, I will take Fulham's Palhinha 100%. You guys are. I love Palhinha anyway. But in terms of, have you heard anything regarding a midfield targets? There was some reports coming, Joshua Kimich, João Neves, even this Ederson from Atalanta. Is it paper talk or is it something
I
in it?
I wouldn't like to say it's true or not true. It's just something I just haven't personally heard, kind of thing. Joshua Kimmich, I think there is some speculation that he was going to go to La Liga at some point. So I'd probably be a bit wary around that personally. But I'm not sure at the moment. I think the transition of Ineos coming in and stuff, it's just sort of quite hard to gauge, really.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But no, I haven't.
Nothing.
Man United, I haven't heard names or anything like that. I think the last story I did was about Ashworth and Mitchell last month. But other than that, it's just sort of been quiet.
Yeah.
But maybe
I mean, there's of course the centre back Todibo and Scalvani from Atalanta, like as a centre backs. But I don't see us, and that's the thing. That is the bottom line, Jack. You know, this is the way I analyze it and see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see us doing anything in January unless something really important happens. Because it's been widely reported that everything needs to be vetoed, although it's not been ratified. You know, Joel Glazer is there to have the final say as well. Like, and everything's still got to go up to Joel Glazer until Ineos has got the final keys to the kingdom. They made an agreement that, you know, we're not allowed to talk shit about each other, and everything needs to be approved by us. You cannot sack or hire anything without our approval. So there's kind of layers on the extra layers on the cake. I think from this standpoint, it looks pretty much the way it's going. If they want to sort of optimize things, right? They want to get this structure right, trim down the wage bill, because player wage bill as well is just one part of the FFP, but the overall staff as well. Like if you have 1,000 staff, that is also calculated in the FFP. So what they're probably going to do quickly, what they're doing right now, is to look who's worth having a job. Is this surplus for requirement? Can we trim it down? And that's what we're going to do. Marginal, what do you call it? Marginal gains, yeah. Marginal gains.
Yeah, I think they said about trimming the staff down, which is unfortunate, really, I guess. But
yeah, marginal gains is like me coming to you, Jack. Okay, Jack, how many beers a week do you drink?
2. I don't know, on average.
Okay, cut down to 1 a week.
Yeah.
Come back to me in 4 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks later, I come to you. Okay, how do you feel now? Okay, cut down to 0. And that's marginal gains, right? It works well in football. It works well in bodybuilding and sports, but I haven't seen it. In cycling, individual teams like, bodybuilding, but I haven't seen it being utilized in football. The proof will be in the pudding, right?
For sure.
All right. So listen, do you see? So I don't know, man. Do you see Ten Hag being able to turn this around at the end of the day from my outside looking in? The remainder of the season?
No, I think you probably have a bit of an uptick in form towards the end of the season. But I think that his time's probably up, given the money spent, $500 million now on his players, and he's been unable to turn the fortunes around. I think that just in the sort of PR standpoint, they put him on a new face behind the new ownership, and I feel that keeping him on would be sort of intertwining them with Glazer's influence as well. So I imagine he's going to see out the season, and then he'll probably get the chop at the end, just to sort of, and they'll put out a nice statement, thank you for your hard work, and that'll be it. I'll be surprised if they don't. I think they've probably got a manager lined up already in mind. I'm sure some very secretive talks probably taking place. I wouldn't be surprised if end of the season, Man United finish 7th, 6th maybe, but 7th, and then Ten Hag's.
Yeah. I mean, I think personally, I don't have any expectations. Like, as I said, we only take a game by game and see what happens. I always like to keep my powder dry. I know when it's a sort of a new change management, or people want to bring in their own people and stuff, but they're having conversations and probably okay, what do you need? What didn't you have before? How can we help you? Okay, we give you the 6 months to prove to us that you are the man to take forward. If not, then we have our replacement. And that's the thing that I think that the conversation has gone down at the end of the day. We just don't know. We just don't know. Even if Newcastle or anything can happen, like this is a weird season. We see a lot of injuries will happen to other teams. Football is odd funny game. It's a Newton's law of gravity. What goes up must come down at the end of the day, right?
It's true.
Arsenal will probably be deflated as per last season. Liverpool also probably will City clinch it again. What about the 115 allegations of FFP of cheating? There's a lot of questions that we need to ask. But big up Jack, thank you so much. It's been we could have spoken for full 90 minutes, like a game of football, right? So
Have it in two halves. Have a break on 45 minutes. Bit of extra time as well. No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to you as
I
well.
really appreciate it.
Anyone, please go follow. Let me just bring it up to you as well. Just going to bring your screen up. This is where people can follow you as well. I'm just going to bring that to the stage, Jack. So yeah, hang on a second. This is your credentials. You can follow Jack at Twitter at Jacque_Talbot. Also check it out at transfer.com. Also Time Sports, Guardian Sports, 442, and Anfield Watch, and more and more and more. Jack, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you off the scenes as well. Sadly to say, we come to conclusion. Not much business going to be done for the top 6 by the looks of it in January. Predominantly it's going to be outs, right?
I think something like that. I think it's mostly going to be some very moderate transfers, nothing huge. But you never know, but that's the flavor at the moment.
Never know. Please, guys, don't forget to smash the like button and share and subscribe if you haven't. It's not mandatory, but if you do, the thumbs up helps this video in this YouTube algorithm to promote so other people can watch this as well. So please go follow Jacque Talbot, the brilliant Jacque Talbot. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on today. And, TGIF tomorrow, right? Thank God it's Friday.
Thank you very much for having us. Cheers, man.
Cheers, Jack. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and we should talk to you very, very soon to the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.